It was supposed to be a normal night, dinner with the family, a short drive home, and peace after a long day. But for Jack Tyke, that November evening in 1974 on Long Island turned into something out of a nightmare. Two masked men appeared out of the shadows, forced him at gunpoint into a car, and vanished into the night. This wasn't a movie. It was one of the most shocking kidnappings in American history, a crime that would haunt Jack for the rest of his life. Jack Tyke was a successful businessman, a father, and a man with no enemies. So when his wife found out he'd been kidnapped, no one could understand why. Soon after, a ransom note arrived, demanding $750,000 in cash. That was an unimaginable amount of money in 1974, nearly $4 million today. The note came with a warning: no police, no tricks, or Jack would die. His wife, terrified and desperate, followed the kidnapper's instructions. She took the cash to Penn Station, under FBI surveillance, hoping that by morning, her husband would come home. For more than a week, Jack was held hostage in a small, dark room. His captors kept him blindfolded, fed him little food, and moved him constantly to avoid detection. He didn't know if he'd ever see daylight again. The only thing he knew, the sound of their voices, the smell of cigarettes, and the fear that every hour could be his last. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it was over. Jack was released, left alone on a deserted road, confused, weak, but alive. He stumbled his way to safety, and the news spread across Long Island like wildfire. But freedom didn't mean peace. The investigation into his kidnapping hit dead ends. The FBI searched for the men behind it, but no one was ever convicted. Jack returned to his family, but the fear never left. Every noise at night, every car slowing near his house, it all brought the nightmare back. He tried to move on, but how do you rebuild your life when part of it was stolen forever? For decades, the story faded from the headlines, but it never left Jack's mind. Then came journalist Taffy Brodesser-Ekner, who revisited the case decades later. Through her reporting, we see not just the crime, but the long shadow it cast. She uncovered the lasting trauma, the unanswered questions, and the way one moment of evil can ripple through an entire life. Because this wasn't just about ransom or money. It was about control, fear, and the fragility of safety. For Jack, the kidnapping never truly ended. Even after the headlines faded and the police stopped calling, the fear lived on, a reminder that sometimes survival is only the beginning. The kidnapping isn't escape isn't just a story about crime, it's a story about what it means to live after something unthinkable happens. Because some cages aren't made of bars, they're made of memories. The kidnapping I can't escape, the true story that still haunts Long Island.